Yuriko, the Tiger's Shadow, versus Atraxa, Praetors' Voice. We have opted to keep this hand because we have Dimir mana available in hand, and we can get into the Mist-Cloaked Herald on turn 1. Just have to grab our Underground Sea first, and we can get into blue and get down our 1/1 unblockable creature. And that will hopefully put us online for a Yuriko on turn 2. May actually get down the Signet first. Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll see what our opponent does. I imagine they'll get down a turn 1 mana rock of some kind. That tends to be the way it goes. Atraxa, Praetors' Voice is a Flying Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink 4/4 in 4 different colours, every colour except red. And at the beginning of your end step, you proliferate. Yuriko, the Tiger's Shadow has Commander Ninjutsu of black and blue. It's a 1/3. And if you want to hard cast it, it costs 3 mana. Ninjas you control deal combat damage to a player, or when they do, you reveal the top card of your library, put it into your hand, and everyone loses life equal to the CMC of that card. Your opponents do, not everyone. I should be clear about that. Yeah, we'll get the card advantage going, I think. There's nothing to stop us getting down. Yeah, we'll go in for the card advantage from Yuriko. And we'll go for the Dimir Signet next turn, most likely. Right now, we're going to go in for Commander Ninjutsu, which means we bounce the unblocked creature. And we get down Yuriko, and this will flip a card off the top of our library. Hopefully it deals some good damage to our opponent. Worst case scenario is just not commander damage, it is some card advantage for us. Deal 2 damage only to our opponent, but we do at least get a Demonic Tutor into our hand, and that means that we'll draw a new card next turn. I think next turn we certainly get down a land, and I think we'll go into Dimir Signet and then Mist-Cloaked Herald. Or we could go into the Flitter Step Eidolon because it costs 1 more mana. Yeah, we'll get down the Signet. And we'll see if our opponent has counter magic for us. They are holding up 2 mana. Okay, and that is Dimir into a cast. And worst case scenario, our opponent gets rid of Yuriko here. And we just get it back into play off of the Flitter Step Eidolon being unblocked next turn. Let's get ourselves some more card advantage here and hopefully some more damage onto our opponent. We do have means of stacking the top of our library with certain tutors and brainstorm, scroll rack, things like that. And that way we can actually dictate how much damage we're dealing to our opponent. Okay, we've only dealt 3 damage to them with Yuriko's ability so far, but we have gotten into 2 good cards in Demonic Tutor and Ponder. And there's only 33 lands in the deck, so the more cards we reveal with Yuriko, the closer we get to land drops. And Ponder will certainly help us out there. Our opponent really struggling on coloured mana, or they were until they got down Chromatic Lantern. Now I wonder if it's worth going for an answer to Atraxa with Demonic Tutor. Okay, why don't we ponder first? So we'll go for this island. See if we can put anything big on top to reveal with Yuriko. Alright, how about swamp, then mana drain. You draw with ponder, don't you? Well, I've done that wrong. We're going to end up drawing into... that feels bad. I should have taken some time there. I should have gone swamp, then the big spell, then mana drain. Oh well. We won't. We'll still hold up that. We might want to go for something different with Demonic Tutor then. Well, we'll swing him, and we can at least reveal mana drain. We'll reveal mana drain, deal 2 damage to our opponent. It should have been, had it not have been for my mistake there, that should have been 10 damage with Commit to Memory. Huge difference, of course, between 2 damage being dealt to your opponent and 10 damage. We can hold up Commit, though, and counter the Atraxa. So yeah, we'll just go for that. We can at least try and make this work. Or we could Mana Drain as well. Yeah, maybe we just Mana Drain. Our opponent does know about the Mana Drain, though. That's the only problem. Okay, and our opponent has decided to go for a Phyrexian Arena. Yeah, I think we'll let that in. I think we can go for... We might be able to go for a Scroll Rack with Demonic Tutor, if we're not too worried about anything our opponent's doing. I'll have to see if we can actually hold up Counter Magic if we do that, though. This is put a target spell or non-land permanent into its owner's library. We could still cast Commit. Yeah, why don't we still go for Commit in that case? And then we can put that on the Phyrexian Arena. In a more competitive game, you would of course go for Chromatic Lantern there and switch off all this coloured mana. But our opponent doesn't seem too eager to run Atraxa out into a counter spell anyway. And that will at least keep them off some card draw. We'll get into another blue source here. In our Sunken Hollow, I think it's called. This comes in untapped, doesn't it? As I very carefully... Yeah, there we go. Now then, we have 2, 4, 6... Why don't we just try a Demonic Tutor? And we can go in for something here. I'm not sure what we would like to go for, actually. Why don't we just have some fun and go for the Arcane Adaptation? Now, I'm not actually going to play that out yet. I am going to flash in a Ninja, I think. And then we can hold up Mana Drain through our opponent's next turn. Get some more card draw on the go here. And we will, of course, reveal a couple of cards with Yuriko's ability. And we're just hoping that we're lucky with this, because we're not actually stacking the top of our library with anything yet. Of course, could have done that with Ponder before if I had stacked the top cards well. Okay, we've got Sakashima's Student, that's 4 damage. And then 1 damage in a Soul Ring, which we are not going to get down, unfortunately. Because we do want to hold up Mana Drain. And then we get to draw a card with Ninja of the D powers. Whenever this Ninja hits, we get to draw a card. So hopefully that's not a big spell that... Oh, we get into Scroll Rack. Well, that's really good. We have one hell of a hand now. Yeah, now we have a decision to make. What do we get rid of here? Even though I just shooted for it, I'm not sure I actually care about the Arcane Adaptation anymore. Toxic Deluge can go. And we'll just rely on Mana Drain to help keep Atraxa off the field. Luckily, we have some unblockables in hand that we can rely on, even if our opponent does decide to try and wipe the board. Hand of the Praetors. I suppose we finally know what type of deck this is. Infect. Other creatures you control with Infect get +1/+1. Whenever you cast a creature spell with Infect, the target creature gets a poison counter. What's that? A target player gets a poison counter. Yeah, I didn't think you put poison counters on creatures. So we know exactly what our opponent wants to do to us now. So let's go in for, we'll go in for Mutavault, try and get the Summoning Sickness off that thing. And we'll go Sol Ring into Scroll Rack. And then I would be intrigued to see how our opponent blocks. Yeah, I don't think, on second thoughts, I don't think I actually particularly want to swing in here. So we'll just go for Sakashima's Student. And we'll make a copy of that thing. And therefore it's less likely to swing in at us. And then we'll hold up Mana Drain. I'm guessing they're trying to get the Mana Drain out of our hand. Alright, a clone on our opponent's side of the field. I'm guessing he's coming in as Hand of the Praetors. How's this thing worded? Whenever you cast a creature spell with Infect. Well, they've already cast the clone. You know what? I'm not going to play around with this Mana Drain anymore. I'll just get rid of it here. And they can cast Atraxa if they want to. We'll just go wide on our opponent. I think we can outrace them with the Infect damage anyway. And our opponent opts not to offer up the trade there, so we just get into our turn again. We do of course get 4 mana from the Mana Drain. And we can pretty much dump our hand here. And what have we got with that? Each player shuffles their hand and graveyard into their library and draws 7. We could go for that if we want to. I think that's actually quite tempting. We'll just dump our hand into play first. Actually, Bestow is tempting there as well. No, I think we'll just go for casting Flitter Step. And yes, we'll pay the mana there. And then we want to get down, the land and the Mist-Cloaked Herald. And then we can draw a fresh grip with the memory. That is, each player shuffles their hand and graveyard into their library and draws 7. You can only cast that with Aftermath, that is casting it from the graveyard. Going to animate the Mutavault as well. And then let's see if we can get into this. That is 2 blue and a Sol Ring. And we'll draw a fresh grip here, and then if we get into any big expensive spells, we can throw them on the top with Scroll Rack. We of course don't. We don't have any blue mana left open either. We can Skull Snatcher. Let's just see what our opponent wants to do here. We can easily get down Yuriko again next turn. Sometimes it's better off being in the command zone so that you can actually get damage through with her. The Mutavault, of course, is all creature types, and that includes ninjas. So they're going to be dealt damage by at least 3 creatures here. Hand of the Praetors can of course only block 1. We don't particularly mind what they block. And then, okay, they decide not to block anything. That's interesting. I'm actually going to go for the ninjutsu on the clone ninja then, in that case. We don't have anything to exile with the Skull Snatcher. And then we can reveal cards off the top of our library. Yeah, why don't we deal at least 4 damage to our opponent with the Sakashima Student. And then let's see if we're lucky. Yeah, we revealed Dig Through Time anyway, so that was a pretty uneventful game. It just shows off a little bit of your tactics with Yuriko. A few mistakes made by me, but I've only played her a couple of times. Scroll Rack is really good in the deck because you can throw cards from your hand on top of your library. Those abilities are few and far between. Mystical Tutor puts something big on top of your library to reveal with Yuriko. And then you've obviously got your unblockable creatures and your ninjas. The ninjas themselves trigger Yuriko. And then the unblockable creatures allow you to get ninjas into play. And then you can turn your creatures into ninjas with some of the enchantments in the deck. So, like I said, shows off a little bit of how you want to play with Yuriko. Hope you enjoyed that, and I will see all of you in the next one. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.